Okay, just want to help you with your reading to get started with the book that we're reading in our class. Mark Knowles' In the Beginning Was the Word. Okay, the Bible in American Public Life. And this is a very important book. He's trying to clarify some things that, a lot of this discussion that we're in the midst of in the world today, Christian America, all these things, is this notion that somehow the Bible is involved in everything, but it's not very well worked out. So Mark Knoll wants to write a book in which he charts this. How is the Bible being used in early America? And it's being used a lot. It is the fundamental book. Everyone expected to be engaged with the Bible at some level. Every political, scientific, theological, foreign relations, everything, Indian policies, it's all biblical to some extent, okay? The people of the early republic knew their Bible well, even the illiterate folk, but there weren't very many. We were a very illiterate society because we wanted people to read the Bible. So know that anyone you're reading, whether they even be Alexander Hamilton or something like that, they know the Bible probably better than you know the Bible, okay? And so that you have to grant them that. And this book is going to help us understand that role of that Bible in, how we get where we get to with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and things like that. Now, first and most important thing is there's two words we got to make clear, which is Biblicism and Christendom. Okay? Biblicism and Christendom, these are two words he uses quite a bit and develops quite a bit. And on page 3 is this all-important sentence, which is the most complicated aspect of this colonial history is the way that trust in the Bible could both strengthen and weaken the Christendom heritage. Okay. Christendom, an idea of a sort of, we'll get to this here in a second, but this idea of a Christian government, the idea of a Christian society, a cultural unit that is Christ-centered, is a heritage which is at the center of these things. But the Bible can support it and actually work against it. In what he's saying there, what Mark Knoll is saying is the Bible's bigger than the United States. The Bible's bigger than Christendom. And this is what I'm going to try and explain to you in a second. The Bible is something that is divine in and outside of our worldly heritage of things here. So, in this sense, the Bible supports certain things, but the Bible also condemns certain things and guides certain things and says no to other things, okay? Of which Christendom will march along, and maybe Christendom is often screwing up, is the basic idea, whereas the Bible is not. Now, the thing to remember about this book is that Mark Knoll is not trying to assert and prove the truth of the divine revelation in the Bible. He is doing the good academic, sort of middle of the road thing, which is that you try to understand how people understood the Bible. Now, the people he's talking about believed, for the most part, in the authority of the Bible as divine revelation. But he is not assuming that you as the reader have to believe that same stuff, okay? But in order to understand history, we need to get into the minds of these people of the 17th and 18th century. And this book is really good for helping us get into the minds of the most important sort of source of knowledge and guidance that the people of early America have, which is the Bible. All right? Now, Biblicism, the way he uses the term, Biblicism is a emphasis on the Bible as the divine word of God, and it is like the best source of information we've got as a human being. I mean, about science, about politics, about culture, about anything, about ethics, about life. It's the best source, okay? Now, that's Biblicism. Now, by his standards there, that definition, both Catholics and Protestants and most everybody's biblicist in early America. The issue is how biblicist, okay? For the Catholics especially, the Protestant Reformation believes that the Catholics have encrusted their biblicism with additional authorities and interpretive authorities and stuff like the Pope or the Church itself, and have added some things to the Bible. But still, at the core of Catholic thought is the Bible's the center of divine revelation. Protestants, very proud of the fact, awkwardly, very proud of the fact that they've tried to strip back a lot of this stuff, not have the Pope and not have the Church be an authority which encrusts the Bible. So they think they've got a more pure biblicism in the Protestants in general. And but no one's perfectly pure, because they also are picking up on the creeds and certain traditions, and certainly all sorts of things encrust the Bible and its purity for Protestants too. And Protestants vary in types as to how they do this, as do the Catholics versus Franciscans versus Jesuits. I mean, it's very complicated. At its bottom is pretty much everyone is a biblicist, but there's a variety of ways that biblicism is mitigated, okay? So we have to be careful. Just read with sensitivity to this term. Don't push this term off into some wild thing. I'm a biblicist. I hope you're a biblicist. Biblicism is good, where we look to the Bible as the best source humans have for divine revelation, or to take divine revelation and check with, to make sure it's divine revelation, stuff like that. Okay, so that's Biblicism. Now, Christendom, I put up my little Augustine thing here, which I use all the time. Christendom is very important to understand. Christendom is not heavenly. Okay, the basic idea of Christendom is to go back to Augustine, go back to especially Paul in the Bible, and see that the earthly realm is sinful. We have all fallen short. So there's so in this sinful earthly realm, that's where Christendom happens. And Christendom is entangled with the heavenly realm because we have prayer and communication, we have sacraments, we have the Bible, we have all sorts of stuff to help the earth do better. But our politics, our churches are fundamentally sinful. Human beings are fundamentally sinful. Everything on earth, all of its institutions, all of its structures, all of its individuals is fallen and will not necessarily fulfill these sort of utopian ideas. Utopias often want to create a heaven on earth. Christendom is an idea that no, we're not creating heaven on earth, and we really can't create a heaven on earth. We can try and do the best we can. There's Catholic versions of Christendom. There's Protestant versions of Christendom. Okay, it comes from the idea of domain, a kingdom. Where a king has his domain. So there's Christ has a domain, but it's not just. Don't let it become some sort of utopian idea. It's Christians muddling about in the world as we have it to create the best possible structures of society, especially to handle our sinfulness. This is where we're going to find Republican government with its checks and balances, term limits, its fear of putting too much power in one place. A lot of that constitutional thought is going to be Christendom thought, okay? Pulled out of like Presbyterian churches and stuff like that, because it is not creating a utopia. It's actually trying to figure out how to live in a world of sin with Christ somehow, Christian principles somehow at the center. So Christendom, handle the word carefully. It's not some sort of utopian word. We do live in a type of, Christendom still in the United States because of its dominant culture and its historical roots in early America. But the thing to remember is what Noel says here, which is that the Bible actually stands outside. Bible is outside of Christendom, and so Bible sometimes is supportive of Christendom, sometimes it is not.